changed voice as a backup plan, just in case.
Yeah, it came in really handy last time.
Right, and so the idea is record it and then save it for 1 hour and then delete it after that. Once we're sure we're past, we got a good copy.
So all four of us are just gonna have a recording going.
Right.
Yeah. And do multi-track, because that does your voices in separate tracks.
And then just after an hour, just delete the folder.
Or just how about after I say file uploaded?
So start multi-track recording is what you want us to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So go ahead and do that now. I am too. I just put it on the desktop.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to line up because line up Mike's file that he sent me. I just lined it up with the file that I had, even though the file that I had all the distortions in it. It was funny when they were both playing. It sounded like a robot. It had a nice little coarse effect. I almost wanted to leave it in.
Okay, so stream's up. I'm ready to go whenever you guys are. Are we waiting for anyone else? We have 2 minutes.
I'm just getting the thing up here.
You watching the stream, Greg? If you are, I'll go ahead and finish tossing topics.
Yeah, I'll follow the stream. Is Tony here?
Yeah.
You must have just stepped away.
He might have stepped away for a sec.
No, I am busy.
Oh. Hi, Tony.
I
He loves his VR so much he doesn't want to put it down.
I was almost considering doing the show in VR, where I could just have all the notes floating in one place and all the tabs in another.
Bet you it'd crash.
Yeah, probably. Like me in today's race.
Did you run today?
Yeah, for about 5 laps. And then like the wall off of turn 2 just reached out and grabbed me. It was like I drove straight into it. It wasn't I was tight. I just drove into the wall. I had the wheel straight.
Alright, well I got some ideas to fix it for my league race and then whatever I get I'll put it for you guys
Well,
for the weekend.
It was already other than that, it felt great with the right wheel setting. I was running like so much better because it wasn't unstable or tight and tight at the same time.
Thank you for reminding me, I just switched mine back.
Yeah, this World of Outlaws write-up. Very, very well done.
Do you want to do?
A little too detailed. He'll
Is
burn.
that from Brian?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He'll burn out though if he does that every time.
yeah, he'll figure out what he can cut and what he wants to keep in as he goes, right?
A good exercise will be to see what I actually read versus what he wrote, because I can't read all that. That's too much.
He'll also
So I'll skip around.
he'll get into his own groove.
But yeah, I just was reading that and I'm like, wow. So I'll start us off here whenever you're ready. All right, here we go. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, David Hall,
Good evening.
Greg Hectus,
Hey everybody.
and Tony Groves.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome. So, Kentucky week. We don't have a special guest, and it's off week for the Coke, so we're going to go right into stories. But we're going to start off with the World of Outlaws. Now, our new teammate Brian follows this pretty closely, and he watched the late model running this week at Limaland Motorsports. The drama began early as the season's point leader, Hayden Cardwell, finished dead last in qualifying. Dug him a big old hole there. The second heat was won by Dylan Hauser, while Cardwell was starting 8th, was only able to make it to 6, relegating him to the B main. Moving on to the feature, 50-lap feature, we got Dylan Hauser, who started on the outside of row 1, took the lead away from the pole sitter J.D. Brown right from the start, being in the preferred high line. First caution flew when Blake Cannon got into Adam Elby on lap 17. Lap 29, a second yellow comes out when 4 cars come together, once again regrouping the field. Now, I didn't actually see this race. These are notes from Brian. And it says here, as the laps ran down, Dylan Hauser on the top holds off a charging Dylan Wilson on the bottom to win the race, leading all 50 laps, with third going to Dylan Rafferty and an exciting A-main feature. Outlaws resume Monday night with round 4 at the Eldora. I'll have to watch that next week. I somehow missed it. I think it was my wedding anniversary, so I think I had a good excuse.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on your timeline. There's so many races to watch, and then I do so much racing, it's hard for me to keep up.
Well, it'll be nice when Brian comes back. He's on holidays this week, but this is definitely the slimmed down version of what he put up there, just because. Well, we probably talk about it all night, but he's done a bang up job writing this out, and it's just too bad we're missing him for him to, chime in and you guys can have a conversation about it, because it looks like he's right into this.
Okay, and then how about another race that we didn't get to see?
Well, this race.
Has anybody able to see it?
Nobody able to see it unless you're in some other quantum universe or something where it actually got ran. So the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup race at Nuremberg was postponed, and we have a little tag here saying there was an issue found with the point systems for the heat race, and there wasn't enough time to correct it.
Yeah, and then reading between the lines on the forum post a little bit, I think it had to do with the length of the laps again, similar to what happened at Le Mans, where, they didn't have the right amount of laps or something, but it wasn't really clear at all. iRacing didn't put out anything but one Twitter post that said it was postponed with no reason why.
Yeah, and that official statement is not an official statement saying something about a problem with the heat races. That's just a 10-year member. That's not a staff guy.
That's right, because people were asking in the forums about it, trying to find information about what's happening. And people familiar with the situation, that's what they said.
Well, Greg, these young people these days...
Grandpa for the win, I guess. I'm trying to find the name here. Has anyone seen the name of the actual Reddit user that posted this?
It's in the link. It's Ubuns Thomas.
Ubuns Thomas. I guess this topic here kind of tugs at your heartstrings here, but I guess his grandfather ordered a better sim rig than he has, and he's showing a picture of it, and it's a nice setup for what he's got. I don't know how old that does it. I don't know if it says how old his grandfather is in here, but kind of brings me back to old memories about my grandfather and stuff like this. But it's good to see that the sim is for all ages, right?
Well, it's not just better than his grandsons; it's better than all his grandsons' friends as well. So, now Grandpa's the life of the party. He's showing them young whippersnappers what's what.
So back in my day, Grandpa took you fishing. Now he takes you sim racing.
No, he takes the lead.
Oh, it's this new thing in 2020 with the virus and everything shut down. You got to be creative in what you're trying to, for entertainment and stuff. So maybe this is a growing thing.
Well, more things at home, you got to find the entertainment, right? And what's, he's obviously a huge racing fan. You probably obviously saw the Maybe it was part of dealing with his son, or just seeing it on TV with what they were doing. You got into it, right? And why not? If you got time for it, I'm sure he's got lots of time for it. He looks perfect for it.
It's a stationary cockpit, kind of a tubular. Looks pretty stable. Looks real stable. He's got triple monitors. They're not quite set up right, but hey, he can
Figure
race.
that out.
From one grandpa to another.
Almost. My daughter's actually due 31 days from today. So I will be a grandpa in a month.
Well, I guess that would mean we owe you a big congratulations.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So
That just gave me an idea for a type of baby reveal. Have two drivers actually do a couple of races and fix who wins. Have one in a pink car and one in a blue car.
Wasn't there a topic like this already? I thought this already was done.
yeah, didn't the streamer guy?
Yeah.
his wife had
Matt
a baby.
Malone.
Yeah, Matt Malone.
They did it in an actual race. Okay.
In fact, she recently had her baby. I saw on social media maybe a week ago, maybe a little longer.
And way off topic we go.
Well, let's swing it back around. We just saw what old Gramps can do. But what we can't do is fool around with fuel settings for between racing and qualifying. As a post put up by Thomas Aaron. And he'd never noticed that you couldn't do it before, but adjusting the amount of fuel you have in the stock cars. And I'm totally lost because
Well, he
I
wants
didn't even
to
know
test.
this was a thing.
He wants to test with a lower amount of fuel. He wants to see what it feels like at 50% fuel, and you can't start a test session like that. It's always at 100% when you start.
Right. Now this is where it kind of gets a little confusing. Like I was trying to read this through. Like Keegan Lee, he posted up saying that there was a bug discovered with it, so they nixed it. But if you go a little further down through the forums, it says that that's how NASCAR does it. So that kind of rolls into, well, that just makes sense that that's how we would do it as well. So I'm not sure what's what on that.
Well, what it is in NASCAR you have to qualify full fuel, because whatever fuel the cars get impounded after qualifying usually, and so whatever's in the tank you got to stay with
That's
that.
what you start with, the race.
Yeah, I mean they're not even qualifying now; they're just drawing. But yeah, so you're stuck with that, and so if you put less fuel in the tank, then you won't be able to go as far on the first stint. And then what Keegan pointed out is that there was a bug found where somebody could qualify on a low tank, and then trick the software into giving them a full tank once they went into race session.
So they're trying to start the race this way, or they're just trying to practice this way?
Well, there's several races where they run with less fuel in the tank.
No, but I'm just saying, like, this guy, does he want it? Is he trying to just test, like,
Yeah, the original poster.
He wants to be able
yeah.
to test what the set's going to drive
Yeah,
like with only
that's what
7
he's-
gallons in it.
that's what he's trying to, yeah, that's what he's trying to do, which is makes sense, and it should be an option because other cars. But if there's, I think thinking about it, what Keegan Leahy is saying, it was a bug that that it wasn't working properly because it didn't actually give you an accurate. They couldn't simulate it properly.
So I'm fine with even the qualifying and the race at full fuel. That's fine, but in testing, it should be opened up, don't you think?
Yeah, in testing it shouldn't matter. You just want
Right, and that's what he's
put half a
asking.
gallon in.
Well, it's kind of like when you want to test when you're on like 2 or 3 gallons left. You get a green white checker and you want to see which kind of adjustments you got to do to do it without taking fuel, right?
So here's what the bug is. It says if you sit in open practice, wait until the server kicks you back to the replay screen, then immediately get on track for the race. You could start the race with whatever fuel level you wanted. Obviously, it could give you a competitive advantage, but this was like back in 2016. Now Keegan did put a question mark because he's not too sure of the date, but I'm gonna have to imagine he's pretty accurate on at least being a couple years old, this bug. So if that's the case, why was that never addressed and fixed? Because it seems like it would be a good thing to have in a test session to be able to do that kind of thing, right?
I'm wondering if it's just not been a huge topic, right? Like, guys aren't. I
Well,
guess the only way you can really like right now, if some guys are probably like some of these pro guys, they probably test it where they run a run and run it out till whatever the fuel they got. They go down pit road and do their quick adjustments like they'd be practicing in a race. The only adjustments they could do in a race, and then figure out what it's like.
no, the workaround is I think you can start a hosted session and set the fuel where you want. So you just have to pay for the session, and that's the workaround.
Or you could sit there and burn the fuel off.
But you can't just go into test and hit like the test button. You should be able to change the fuel on that, but
Maybe if now that it's been brought to attention, maybe something will get fixed in it.
Yep. Another thing that they have had their attention brought to is something coming up with the TCRs at Spa. A few laps before, it was, I guess, a team race with TCR. They pitted a car, but when he came in to the box for driver swap, the car elevated like several meters in the air and then fell down, and it broke the right rear wheel. And that's I guess where they had been hit in the previous incident. After 2 minutes of towing, even though they were sitting in the box, the car flew a couple of meters and fell again, giving him 11 minutes to repair.
Is his teammate Chris Angel?
levitation, and then it drops.
Yeah, and it's a bug that they're aware of that has to do with the new damage model, and they're trying to fix it as quick as possible.
Yeah, I'd say that's a big bug.
Wait till you see this other video we got later. Let's keep moving. The next one was what an ego crusher this game is. We got a forum post in the forums about just that. I mean, boy, you can really get your ego crushed thinking you know what you're doing, and then you get out there and you can't even make a lap or whatever happens, you know. It was an interesting topic. He got a lot of responses. I gave him one. I told him, hey, if it was easy, nobody would do it. I think I told you that, David, today.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about it in results.
But you got to think of it like most of the time we've been in our life that we, you know, if you weren't a sim racer with NASCAR 2003 or anything back then, you've grown up on the console generation, which doesn't. You can set the AI or the people you're racing against to what you want, so you can make it easy or hard. It's got difficulty levels. You're going up against an actual human being that has thoughts for themselves. Like it's definitely it's the most competitive thing you're gonna do besides actual racing.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about my result a little bit of this race today that we did in IS. We were both in top split, David and I, and I was humbled. I was a little bit ego crushed. I was like car 34 or something, but I ran like 27th, and that's probably what I deserve. I mean, I'm the 27th best guy out there, probably, and that's humbling, especially when you've won the Daytona 500 and you've won these other big races, and then you get in this, you know, race here at Kentucky with top split, and you get your hat handed to you.
Well, I've been up in there for about a month now, and it's it's what I guess the real guys experience maybe when they're lighting it up in a regional series or ARCA, and then they come into trucks and don't necessarily have instant success, or maybe they're even good in trucks and nationwide, and then they get moved up to Cup, and it's a whole different world. I remember Joey Logano had quite a bit of struggles at first because it had been so easy coming up, and they moved him up when he was very young. But I started the season off in around 3,400 I rating, 3,300, and started the season off with 3 wins, and haven't been even close to a win since running top split.
The other thing that's kind of gone against you guys is the lack of competition now too. Like the numbers have started going down over the summer here of actual participants. So you're losing a split, maybe 2 splits a night, and it's pushing you up into those splits that you kind of, we're all hovering around splits that we shouldn't be in. Like I probably shouldn't be in the split that I'm in. I'm not saying I'm better than those guys. I just feel like I feel like I should be higher, but it's such a humbling game or sim that you sometimes can't make it out of it just as easy, even if you are fast.
Yeah, and so there's the top side of the splits, and then there's the bottom side of the splits, and I think it can be pretty humbling to try to get yourself out of that bottom split.
And early in NIS, when we had 10 to 12, however many splits, everybody in the split was a lot more equal. Now I'm having a race against Garrett Maines, and there's no comparison in the talent.
Well, even look at my fall at the beginning of the season down to, I was at 3,000 when I started at Daytona, and now I went down to almost 1,900, and I'm slowly crawling myself back, but I'm only getting a couple of races a week to try and do it. So if I have a bad race, it takes 2 or 3 to gain back what I lost. And that could be 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, based on your pattern of how many races you're running and everything, absolutely. Well, that's why we do it, because it's hard.
So, in team driving, there's the way it is right now, you can manipulate what split you get in, Greg. Or actually, no, this one's my topic, isn't it?
You're the road guy.
I'm the road guy.
It's
kind of funny because it's an interesting, tough decision, and I'll read the guy's post first. I don't need to read the guy's post. Basically, whoever is logged in for the team, however many of you sign up, the average of your I rating becomes your split, and you don't even have to run. So you could have like a 500 I rating person register and not even turn a lap and get down in the bottom split. And this guy's complaining about it. I don't really like it either. I wish that you had to have the active roster of the team already set before you register.
Yeah, that right there is obviously an exploit that needs to go, because if that guy doesn't run any laps, he shouldn't score any points, because it doesn't work that way in real LMS. Like if your driver has to.
He doesn't score points, but you can get a 26 or 3,000 I rating guy down in the bottom split.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, if he goes in, like, if you think about it in real life, if you prepare 3 drivers to race or 4 drivers to run Le Mans or the Rolex or whatever, if they don't get the registered amount of time in the car that they have to get in, the car gets disqualified, or I think it loses points. I don't know if it gets completely disqualified, but it should. If that guy doesn't run the race and there's 3 guys signed up and they don't all complete laps, that car should be disqualified.
Right, that's the fix. So that's what they need to do.
That is one possible fix, but even if that person does run, they may have that person just run one fair share.
Well,
and if it's a 3-hour race, they only have to run 30 minutes to get a fair share. We're running for VRS, or for the Spa race coming up this weekend. I'm teamed up with. I've actually kind of got 2 teams put together, and there's 5 of us. 2 of them are both working. One of them is a cop, very busy all weekend, but he's getting just a 2-hour stint in, and that's a fair share with 5 drivers. So it can be manipulated, but here's the thing. Here's a little bit of a devil's advocate manipulated. I don't like doing this myself anymore, because then you're down in that split with all of the manipulators as well as the really low I rating guys. So I almost prefer to have one of our higher I rating guys go ahead and put us in, where we're at least going to be, where the racing is not going to be so horrifically dangerous.
See, if they make that person actually have to compete for 2 hours, though, it actually makes it legitimate, because if he's got 1,000 or 500 I rating and gets those
He'll
guys
drive
in there,
like it.
he probably drives like it, and he probably will cause problems for them over 2 hours of doing it.
That would be a good simple fix.
Good job, Greg. You said exactly what I was thinking. So
I think the person in the forum post actually says the same
okay,
thing.
so maybe that's what made us say it. But how about the VCO Cup of Nations? We talked about this last week, and then Greg, guess what?
Did we talk about this? I don't
Yes.
remember. Well, the VCO Cup of Nations had their qualifying over last weekend. And an old teammate of ours, Mike Morley, asked me to come help out Team Canada because I wasn't planning on running this. Because if you noticed last week when I shared this topic, I was probably very uneducated with how this event was being held. I've been pretty educated during the week here for it, but I was able to secure us at the last 16th spot in the bracket. With my couple last laps on the Monday night, it seems to score us a little bit of points. And yeah, so we're in Group A with the big hitters here, Germany and stuff. We're a little bit overwhelmed. The top two move on. The events are being held on the 25th and 26th of July. Apparently on Monday next week, we find out the certain cars and certain tracks that we're going to be we're gonna find out what they have. They won't tell the combination until the day of, so we'll at least be able to practice what we have. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I didn't think I'd actually make it in, but I set a good time at Spa and got us enough points to finish in 16th spot and see if we can go on.
It's interesting. It's
look at the
interesting that I
names.
know all four of the drivers in Canada, and none of the ones in USA.
Well, I know some of these guys from Germany, like Maximilian Benecke, Patrick Holzman,
Yeah, those are
Aliens.
Aliens, yeah. I don't recognize any of the guys from the Hungary one either. US 2 I didn't realize as well.
all of the guys in the Canada team except you run in Pacific Majors. In fact, Wayne is an admin there.
Well, at least obviously if I made it in and to that team, the Team Canada didn't have a lot of representatives.
Oh, you're quick enough, obviously, and well done, Greg. We appreciate you representing Team Canada. You guys go beat Max Benecke and show him what's up.
Well, we just got to try and qualify for the top two to move on to a second. I believe it's on the 25th. There's two different events being held in that day. I think it's 3 cars and 3 tracks, and to score the most points to finish in the top 2, and then it moves on to another elimination round to qualify for the Sunday race on the 26th. There's a lot of complicated rules until we see what tracks and cars it is. Yeah, at least it's being held. I'm on holidays all next week, so it'll be good that it's being held a couple weeks from now.
I wouldn't mind testing that out. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want to test that out. But iRacing is having a test event, and you can gain yourself a little reward for jumping in and helping out for this weekend's Spa 24-hour event.
Has this already happened?
It happened just a few hours ago, this morning.
Well, this is already old news, so everybody already knows.
I actually found the results while you were talking. Here's what they said on the forums about, he said, cannot thank everyone enough who participated. They were able to, number one, verify there were no registration join issues for both beta and classic member site when the registration is set to 1 hour, validating various infrastructure changes we made since Le Mans, validating software changes we have made since Le Mans, deploy, test, and validate a new version of one of our back-end services between the 2 sessions. Unfortunately, discovered a bug in unofficial team sessions. That bug will need to be fixed, obviously, before we run any more team-based test sessions.
I just want to say before we go more into this, I applaud them for at least trying this. Now they realize they did something happened at Le Mans and they got to try it. Doing this is a smart idea before the actual event, so that it doesn't end up the way it did at Le Mans.
Right. It's just let's just make, run the thing through the cog and see what happens. And they did, and they found a couple things, and they're going to get them adjusted before Saturday. Well done.
So, Mike, you posted a lot of videos about fireworks on July 4th. What do you got here?
Well, this one is something else. This guy who is, I forget his name. I think it's Frog Alley Racing 21 on YouTube, but I forget his actual name. But he posted in one of the Facebook groups the video of this, and it was not shareable. So I said, hey, man, we really want to talk about this on the show. This is awesome. And so he took the time to put it up on YouTube so we could watch it and everybody else could. And so thank you to him. And he called it iRacing Early Fireworks Display. And that's exactly what this is. He's got a car, a late model car, sitting here on pit road, and the engine's exploding. And boy, is it exploding. I mean, you can see the smoke and the whatever flying away from the car at, bullet-like speed in all directions from underneath the car. It's all this fire and light, flashing out, and I can't even describe it.
Well, the best part about it is that we were able to grab some wicked screenshots, so anybody that can't get the visual through Mike's description can just take a look at the script when we get it downloaded. Oh, yeah.
I've been laughing ever since this came on. This is funny. This just was.
It's like it went nuclear. It's nuclear or something.
The funny thing is, you get to see how far the actual modeling of damage is going with it, though. Like how much comes off the car, because it seems to get worse and worse the further it goes.
I think that's the perfect way to explain it. Is the engine, it melted down and it actually went nuclear and did a complete meltdown. That's what it visually looks like.
And then, did you guys see the fireworks at Kentucky when they were done? Like when you were done your race last night and today?
No, I missed it.
Yeah, it shoots up right out of turn
3.
Turn 3?
Yeah, it's turn 3. I was gonna say those don't hold a candle to this car going off.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong there, but he actually had 2 cars doing this, did he not? Like at the beginning, it was a black car, and then near the end of the video, it's the green and red car.
Is he able to just make this happen at wheel?
I don't know. It almost looks like the paint is flashing white and then in and out or something like that as the car is exploding.
I want to know how they're going to trace to figure out what the heck is going on.
Well, I don't think he reported this. He just put up a video on a closed Facebook group, And it was 4th of July, I think, when he did it. It was supposed to be a joke. But, it's fascinating. We see a lot of videos, and this one really took the cake, and it was quite timely.
Can light the cake. So, someone that had a good race on the weekend, David, should talk about very popular streamer, and his best race on the weekend.
Very popular streamer and a really good iRacer. Oh, and he also is the 3rd youngest ever F1 podium finisher. Right? A funny little tweet from Lando Norris. He says he can't believe I went from a full-time Twitch streamer to 3rd youngest ever F1 podium finisher in a matter of days. So he's just basically in a sarcastic way saying he's glad to be back in real racing.
The best part is he's such a good ambassador for both sides of it. Good for the simulation side, and he's a great person in F1. The way he comes off as an F1 driver, you don't see a lot of F1 drivers the way he is, because he's still young and growing up at the age he is, right?
Yeah, he's a breath of fresh air for sure in Formula One, and I think in sim racing as well. I mean, he's quite a talent.
And another exciting for all of us, definitely victory instead of podium, but first victory. You guys know I'm several of us. We had a guest on, I guess, about a year ago, and I'm actually a part of the community and do some of the community races with them and keep in touch, and definitely try to watch all the videos. And Rabbits, our snail racer, she got her first win in a Skippy this weekend, or this last week.
All right, Annie, fast as a snail.
And she brought the tears, man.
Well, I loved watching this video. I actually watched it right after it came out because when I saw the title, I wanted to see her emotion, and sure enough, she comes across very genuine, and it really brought back a lot of feelings of some of my big wins or my first win, just watching her go through the same thing. And then watching her journey like we've done over the last year. I've been watching all her videos. And so, yeah, it was great to see Annie win.
But she recaps some of her early racing and like the first time she even got to make an overtake. You know, when she first started, she wasn't even trying to pass people. She was just trying to survive on the track.
Well, she did a really nice. The production value of that video was really, really well done because, you know, as you know, you see her doing the racing like with her first overtake, and then, you know, it is about a 16-minute video, and she gives you a little progression right up to the first win, but she cuts in all those times with just a shot of her, you know, explaining what's happening and what she's thinking about, and you know, how she's feeling and all that other stuff. So it really helps put everything into perspective, but it made the video really enjoyable to watch as well, just on that production value that she had for that. I thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah, her husband Larry is the one who puts together the videos. He's also in the community. They don't get to race together very often because if one of them's doing a race, the other one's keeping up with their kids. And but also one of the funniest parts of the movie, or not movie but video, was where she says, "Hey, can I get a mint?" And Larry's just right there and just puts the mint directly in her mouth. She was so focused she couldn't even reach down and grab a mint. But the fact that he was there and basically serving her hand and foot was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a great story overall. If you look at her entire YouTube channel and the videos as a whole, to see her from that first race when she's as green can be, you know, and now here she is upset with herself because she gave up the lead, and now she's like, I'm gonna get it back, and you can just feel that raw emotion, and she definitely presents it. So well done, Annie. Good job. We need to get her oval racing. That's what I think, and we'll see how she does on an oval.
Well, one of her most recent videos was getting out of oval rookie class. So she's running a little bit of oval.
Kentucky, Greg.
Well, we all had comments last night about Kentucky when we were racing it. And in the forums here, there seems to be talk about the shaders, and that it seems like Kentucky's kind of unfinished. It's very dark track. The lighting system doesn't seem to be like all the other tracks. I noticed it really when we were on pit road and everything, but I don't know what you guys think of how it was going last night. It did look incomplete. I don't agree with some of the people's comments in this. You know, they start getting personal about the iRacing, about things. It might be a bug. People need to let things go, but maybe it just they didn't finish something, or something got overlooked.
It doesn't seem too bad out on the track, but in pit lane you can't see the pit boxes, or what they sit on, those boxes.
What did Mike? What did you say last night? You were having problems with one of the cars.
Okay, so
blacking out.
If you pay attention going on the front stretch, and you're looking at the car in front of you and you're looking at the left side of the car, it will go completely black, like jet black. Like there's, not like it got dark and you can't see it. It's like the color went missing, okay, for just a moment, and then it flashes back in, it flashes back to black, and it's definitely broken. I guarantee you it's broken. And Tony Rochette confirmed it last night. I described what I saw. Tony said, "Yep, I'm seeing the same thing." And so the lighting is messed up. And then we had a guy on Twitter at J_ish. He posted up some screenshots that he took from above the track, and I mean, based on the screenshots, it sure looks unfinished to me. Like there's this one that has the restart zone, but the words restart zone is literally cut in half. It's like gone, and it like a part of the painting is missing or something.
The odd thing is that I was just thinking back, they were really publicizing that they had finished this track and rescanned it and got everything done on it. So I'm just wondering if something was just overlooked or something's gone wrong since some of these hot fixes or something.
Well, yeah, and David, you reported in the forums that the cautions are messed up, and there were people trying to say, no, it's okay, but no, it's messed up. We had 3, maybe even 4 laps before we got to 2 to green. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. We don't really have this on the script, but let me go into the details.
Hold on, just one second.
Go ahead, Greg.
What I was going to say is what I noticed last night is if you got to the start-finish line and the caution came out, you had to go all the way around and then catch the pace car. So that's 1 lap. Then you had 2 more laps that said pace on the screen, and then 2 to go, and then 1 to go, and then you go. If you
and that's
got
the
it,
details.
if you got it after the start-finish line, you'd catch the pace car, and it would save you 1 of those pace laps. You still get 2 pace. You get 1, 2 to go, and then the 1 to go, and then you get going. But it just depends on where it's coming up. There's some reason there's an extra pace involved. It doesn't matter about the first 2, like where the pace car comes out. It's that 2 pace that are put in there. It should be pace, 2 to go.
Should be just 1.
1 lap to go.
Yeah, you're right. There's 2 things that have changed. The having to drive all the way around, they did that intentionally. That was actually in the patch notes a few times back. Depending on where the pace car, or depending on where the leader is when the caution comes out, sometimes the car is going all the way around and everybody's basically having to race almost green flag conditions to get back. But whether that happens or not, when the pits open, that's the real first pace lap, where that is going to be your first full pace lap, where everybody's supposed to be caught up. And when the pits open, it used to be last year and before the changes for the long tracks, it used to be pacing, like you said, pacing, 2 to green, 1 to green. And if there was no caution, or if there was no lucky dog, it would be 2 to green the first time around. You wouldn't even have a pacing lap. It would be just 2 laps. And I pulled up and posted on the forums images of telemetry from Kentucky last year showing this. So they've added, on top of the fact that sometimes you have to drive around a lap and a half before you even start pacing, they've added 2 pace laps instead of 1, even though they took it away from Pocono, and they couldn't have done that on purpose.
Yeah,
I think it's
the joke in the driver chat was they took away the cautions from Pocono and they added them to Kentucky, and that's literally what they did.
Yeah, and they haven't responded on the forum post, and I actually put it in as a bug report too 20 days ago, back when we were at Chicago, and they've left it open, haven't responded to that either.
Well, the cautions are just brutally long at Kentucky, and yeah, they need to get that resolved. I mean, we're in the middle of the week, but still.
Well, and the other thing that's unfortunate about it is, I don't know if it's such a drastic change at other tracks, but you seem like you're going. What are you going? 55 on the track, and then it's 45 in the pits. It seems like you're slowing down an awful lot to get onto pit road.
Yeah, I think the pit the pit car speed doesn't feel natural at this track. It feels artificially slow too.
Well, that I think that's because you got spoiled at Indianapolis and Pocono where they have it artificially fast.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. It just
Could
doesn't
be.
feel right.
Could be. Just weird. Indy's got it's got a long pit road, but it's tiny and it's 60. But here it's got a wide pit road and it's 45.
Well, I guess we can just hope that they'll make a hot fix for that. Didn't make it this week, but they did put out a small hot fix patch this week. Just go over it real quick here. They changed the way the iRacing updater relaunches the beta UI, so it's run as the correct user with the correct privileges. They fixed an issue in the race servers causing improper run group assignment in open practices, which could have prevented drivers from entering the car.
Maybe because they were on fire from fireworks.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Very, very well could be. Track rubber distribution calculations from the tires have been updated to put more rubber into the track under the contact patch and less rubber offline. This will result in a more uniform distribution of rubber on the track in general.
I like this. This sounds awesome. This might fit. Is this going to fix a multi-groove kind of thing we've been wanting?
You'd think that they wouldn't add it as a hot fix. This would be something that they would kind of. I mean, they've added it in obviously to try something, but it seems like if it was such a big thing, it would be more on like a patch note than a hot fix.
Well, we don't know to what degree the adjustment is. It might be minor, but
We did notice that Kentucky did rubber up a lot. It got
could
really
also-
dark.
Yeah, and it could also come down to it's just a matter of when they got it ready, and which was now. So why let it sit when you can just go ahead and put it out?
I thought the grooves were okay with Kentucky.
A couple of other small things with the cars. The 87 cars, both in the pit timing, has been made to be a little bit more consistent. And the new damage model has been temporarily disabled for the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. So it will also disable the new damage model for any other vehicles running in the same sessions for the multi setups there.
So another car loses the damage model.
All right, you're really surprised? Like
No, I'm not surprised.
it is what it is, right? Like they put this, they roll this stuff out. There's always going to be these little issues. At least they're not, it's not a major break where they got to rip it out from all the cars. Fix a little bit here, a little bit there. I'm sure it's not going to be long before they can get it back on the car.
It's got to be so hard to like this. This seems like such an undertaking because of the amount of cars they already have, like the amount of stuff that they have to add it to, and plus anything that's coming in new, they got to build it for as well. So they're kind of either way they're adding a lot. So like having each car's different design of the car and how it would wreck. It's got to be the biggest undertaking of anything that they're doing.
I like the fact that they're okay with turning it off. Hey, it's not right. Let's turn it off. Let's make it right. Then we'll turn it back on.
Yeah, and they've done this with the other cars too in the past, and it's, if memory serves me correct, and it probably doesn't. It usually doesn't, but I don't believe they take them down for too long. Like they take them down, they go to work and get them back up as, in a pretty timely fashion.
I'm sure you'll see a lot of damage model stuff on the next build. Like that'll be where they'll try and make sure everything's back for, if they can.
Okay. Next up, a forum post by Ian Gibson from UK, asking iRacing for more graphical mapping options for curved 32:9 monitors. with the increased prevalence and popularity of ultra-wide curved monitors, would it be helpful if we could map the iRacing's flat presentation to these properly? All current options include mapping, as 3 virtual screens are compromises. Can we add in, native 21 by 9 or 32 by 9 mapping with the 1000R, 1500R, and 1800R monitors? Great idea.
He says it's just maths, but I'm not sure how it all would be mapped. But when you're mapping to a flat surface, you basically, even if you're doing 3 monitors, you have 3 angles that you're having to calculate for that entire screen's worth of resolution. If you're doing it for a curved surface, you're talking about an infinite number. Well, not infinite, but you're having to basically remap every so often per column width, if I'm not mistaken. So that could be extremely graphics intensive.
I'm sure it's gonna be something like he's saying in there. There's so many of these curved monitors coming out. They're gonna have to do something, because the curved monitor, at some point here, it's at some point. Do you think we'll even have flat monitors anymore? You think they'll all be curved? I think they're gonna be all curved eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have choice, but it'll be more mainstream for sure.
I'm not sure either, because there's a lot of nice things about the flat monitors. As we went to them after, if you go back all the way to the CRTs, those were all curved, even though they were curved the opposite direction. So what gives, other than when you're making it really huge, an ultra ride, if it's a regular size, what's the advantage of it being curved?
Well, we looked at that new Samsung monitor, which cost a fortune, the 1800R curve, which had a real deep curve to it. And I don't know that would be ideal on iRacing as iRacing is designed, but what this guy is saying is, can iRacing design it for that? And boy, if they could, I think it would be spectacular.
I guess it would really have to be somebody who knows how graphics rendering really works, because I'm making a complete layman's guess that, like, even when I'm in VR, I'm basically just looking at 2D projections of 3D representation. So it only has to do the maths for 2 views. Whereas if you're talking about a curve, now you're getting into something like calculus, where you're having to do a different calculation for every column of pixels, because you're coming in at different angles.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, because it's a variable. It's not like my monitors are cut into 3, and you're saying you'd be cut into thousands. Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously, we don't see any iRacing staff members chime in on this yet, but it'll be interesting to see if there's more push for it, if somebody will chime in.
I could guarantee you right now that they are thinking about it, whether they have an answer to be able to accomplish that right now. We won't know until they actually would announce something, but you can guarantee that they have been looking at this to see if this is a possibility right now, or in the near future.
They need to get one of those 1800R Samsung monitors in iRacing, in the headquarters, so they can hook it up and make sure it works right. So somebody send them one.
Well, and if we're talking about the future, David, it sounds like the dirt guys are hoping for something in the future.
Well, there was a discussion recently popped up, or a post. Tyler had a talk with the staff about dirt, and they had a problem recently with the new damage model having the wing rip off, but it not actually affecting the car. So they disabled that and just stopped having the car rip off. And then he tossed in that Dirt AI, though not anytime soon, is on the list.
Oh. I can imagine running Dirt AI. I mean, cars everywhere, high and low. Are they going to be switching lanes, and run right into you? Probably.
Do you think that'll be the hardest one for them to program? Just because the way that
the way you
have to make that look, and if you know, if you're on the inside, that car has to choose another lane, and how does it run that lane? Like dirt is such an odd. Like when you're watching dirt, you see a guy. Oh yeah, he takes the corner on the bottom, but he's slower, and then you see the guy on the outside. He's like, well, way back, but as soon as he gets that momentum up, he just starts flying up there. Like you gotta. There's just so many variables.
Well, and then there's the part where the moisture is coming out of the track as the race wears on, and you need to naturally move your line to a different part of the track. They got to train the AI to do that too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Go for it.
So, if I say sponsored real life iRacing car, who does that bring up?
Alfredo or Majeski.
Well, we have Ty Majeski here. He's the new Slinger Nationals 2020 champ.
All right.
Congrats, Ty. You know, man, this guy, he represents iRacing really well with having that sponsor on his car. Like, he's got a lot of sponsors on it, but it's nice to have the big iRacing presence on that hood of that car.
Yeah. Taking iRacing to victory lane in a big race too.
That hood looks like it has the new damage model.
I was gonna say.
iRacing just needs to pony up a full season for Xfinity for this guy. Get him in an Xfinity car, in a good Xfinity car.
With the amount of stuff going on, I thought that, I mean, obviously it'd probably be expensive, but Junior Motorsports, I thought, would be the car that iRacing would get involved with.
You'd think.
Well, they got all that COVID money now. They can do it. They can do it. Ty Majeski, Xfinity. Yeah, hook them up with Junior. Let's get it done.
Okay. Next up, housekeeping notes. Don't forget about show notes. Like you can see that video we talked about with the nuclear exploding car. So check out our show notes. It's in the description of the podcast. There's a link. We're in regular rotation over at Performance Motorsports Network, so don't forget to check them out. And let's move right into hardware software. So this is the big story, guys, of the day, of the week, of the month, of the year, as far as I'm concerned. Listener Joe Gates sent this in. Thanks, Joe. And it's called vrig.com, and I was literally blown away. I've never seen a cockpit like this. I would say it's revolutionary.
I say it reminds me of an erector set.
When you showed us this video, and I was out shopping when you showed this video, I couldn't believe it's like the perfect way to have both disciplines, right? Like the best way to use it. We've seen it in other small rigs, but this one's just so heavy duty looking with it.
It's a beast. So the idea of the rig is it can change seating positions between rally, GT, or Formula, and on the fly. Okay, so like you'll be sitting in it, you push a button, and the whole thing transforms. It's like a transformer. It's kind of a good description. And like Tony said, a rector set look. It's got a lot of sharp points. It's got a lot of minute adjustments. But when you look at the animation or the video of the thing transforming from one seating position to the other, the amount of adjustability is insane.
Now, this is good. This is good. And as I'm watching this video, Mike, I'm seeing like all these little dials and stuff. So it looks like it wouldn't take you very long to, switch between seating positions. And if what I'm seeing is correct, we got about six dials per side, 5-6 dials per side.
Right. It's not like it. Okay, so I elaborated. It's not like you push a button. You're right. You have to get out. You got to change the little dials, unscrew them probably, and then slip them up to the angle you want, and then tighten them back down on each side. So maybe a few minutes every time you switch it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's certainly some pros and cons. Now, the pros is obviously the adjustability. You can pretty much do whatever the hell you want with this thing. Change the where your wheel is, change where your monitors are, and it is basically on the fly, right? You just undo a couple things, slide them in, and bam, there you go. The cons to this is exactly that. You have all these options, and that would be the only thing that I would have to think is like, am I actually going to take all that time to do that? Probably not as often as you would think.
But Tony, you got to look at it for you. Like, if you're looking at it as yours, you don't run different disciplines. You're mostly an oval guy, right?
No, I know, and I realize that, and I'm not trying to think about just how I personally race, but if somebody that would race a bunch of different disciplines, maybe they would. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I would go through all that trouble all the time.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I would leave it in one spot, but I like the fact that I can get it just perfect that I want, the way I want it.
well, you can do that with an 80/20 just as easily as far as adjustability goes.
I would say this would be more like a rig that David and I would have more of a use for in practicality wise, right?
Yeah, well, I looked at a rig that was adjustable. Maybe it was a play seat one. Don't they have one that will switch back and forth?
Well, we covered another company, Monkey Sim. I think it's Monkey something. I think Monkey Sim Products. They do the same type of thing. They have a new version coming out like this, but not this elaborate.
Yeah, and I considered it, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to constantly keep switching. And for the most part, the only car that I run that uses the formula position is the prototypes. They sit like a formula. They're real short. But most of the time, I'm in a GT car or a cup car.
Now, there is one position on here that I saw that would definitely be a selling point, and I know this would hit a lot of racers, and that is the compact mode. A lot of people only got so much room, and sometimes you got that thing in the living room. Wife's getting mad. Oh, look at that. It's got compact mode. Let's just fold her all up. We'll slide that puppy out of the way until it's race time. That could be a really good selling point. Obviously, not to mention the fact that this is probably one of the, definitely the top 10 for looks. This thing does look like a beast. It looks awesome. But
It
I like
reminds
that
me of
compact
a
mode.
jet ski. I don't know why, but
Now, Tony, you saying that compact mode, here's something they're not included, but they can be added on. So they have a PC bracket so you can mount your actual PC to the side of it, I guess. They also have a mobility system, it looks like obviously caster wheels, so you can move it around as well, that are added. You can add on to it, which would make it completely mobile. If you can obviously have good wire management and just have to unplug it maybe from the wall, electrical wise. But you could be moving this around. You could store it away in a closet if you had to.
Now that's right there. Now I was thinking about trying to figure out a way to make a retractable like caster wheel, and I was thinking about doing that for my rig just to make it easier to slide around. But if one of these companies come out with something like that where you could, it would have like a rubber footing on it, but you could drop a set of small wheels just so you can roll the bloody thing out of the way.
that's exactly what this has.
Do you see how it works there on the product part there, Tony?
Yeah, scroll down the page about halfway and you'll see just what you described.
Because when you're in it and it's being used, it sits on the actual chassis part, and the wheels look like they're up off the ground a little bit. They don't have a lot of pressure on them.
These guys stole my idea. Oh no, that's awesome. I didn't I didn't see that. and I still can't. I'm scrolling through the page. I still can't find it, but that's awesome if they've done this. Like, I don't even want to look at a price because I don't want to shit on this thing because it is so good looking. I know it's expensive as hell, I'm sure, but
Yeah, I'm trying to find
£1,000.
where to add it. Really, that's all?
£1,000
yeah,
pounds.
that's
It's
actually not so
99,
bad.
but it doesn't come with a seat. The seat's another $100. The gear shifter's $150. The wheel caster set is $299, I believe it was. Yeah,
Well,
and
this
then
the gear shifter would just be whatever gear shifter you want to get. That's
yeah,
that's just a Fanatec gear shifter in the picture.
no, yeah, but no, it's a bracket. It's the brackets doesn't come with it.
Oh, wow, that's a little lame.
But I can't believe, like, if you find the V-Rig R1 mobility system, it actually shows you how it works. So when you sit down in it or whatever it does, they retract up into the body, and it's such a neat system. This whole thing works. Someone had a lot of thought and a lot of designing to do here, but this thing all works together like one crazy thing.
So the base unit is $999, okay, and then you add everything else, and I think I added it up, and it was another 1,000 for everything else that you would want to go with it. So it was like 2,000 with triple monitor mounts.
So if you
Okay.
look at this and you're interested, if you look at this and you're interested, they're doing it in batches, and batch 1 and batch 2 are sold out already. Batch 2 is being shipped in the middle of August, and they're pre-ordering batch 3 now.
I'm just trying to see what it would cost. I'm trying to see how much the shipping would cost just on the thing here.
So I got to say something about the wheel deck. The amount of adjustability and the thing, it retracts. Imagine you're done with the race. You have this wheel like right up in your face. You push something and it pushes back and it retracts and it gets out of your way so you can stand up. And the monitor does the same thing too. And the monitor, not only does it go forward and backwards, but it goes up and down. And as it was coming forward to closer to the driver, it actually went up over the wheelbase and then back down once it got past the wheelbase. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
usually
God.
take my oval rim off when I'm getting in and out because I have my chair so far forward being so short.
Okay, so I just quickly wanted to see so it's $9.99 pounds. I guess that's pound, right? That would
Yeah,
be pounds.
pounds.
So okay, so
Hold on, Greg. Let me take my headphones off. I really don't want to hear this.
if you want to ship it, I live in Kitchener in Ontario, Canada. If you just want 4 to 5 week transit for it, it's $300 of shipping. If you want it quicker and within a week, it's almost $500, and it's almost $900 for me for 2-day shipping. So
Damn.
you double the price.
My 80/20 was $200 for the shipping, all the way from Germany. But it's a nice rig.
Man, I'm just blown away by it. I haven't seen anything like it. The amount of adjustability, the way the seat can even be adjusted, tilt forward, back, up, down, height adjustment, even, everything.
I just was even thinking like the way it looks is even something you could have it sitting out, and it's not like an eyesore too, right?
No,
like
it looks futuristic.
It draws your eyes to it.
Yeah, it's got some red in it. It's mostly black. It's got some red, and it's sharp. I mean, it looks sharp. Very impressed. I mean, if I was buying a cockpit right now, I might be looking at this, man. I love it. But I don't know if I would move it. I would probably get it set to right where I want it, and I would never move anything. But just the look of it is awesome.
The main thing, again, with the changing from one mode to another is I just didn't want to have to constantly switch back and forth.
Okay, so that's vrig.com. I'll be keeping my eye on that and drooling, I'm sure.
Our next item, it looks like it has a little bit of a do-it-yourself element to it. It's called ultimategametech.com. And it's basically displays that are specifically designed for iRacing that you can actually mount onto, I suppose, your base or your rig.
It's the raw display.
Hmm.
So it doesn't have a housing. You design your own housing supposedly. It has LEDs as well across the top for like RPM.
It also has inputs for where you can even turn it into a button box. You can add switches to it as well. It looks like it's almost something you could throw on top of I guess, of a rim if the rim didn't already have a built-in display. So this would be really great for all us VR users. I say that in jest.
All
Well,
these
you
options
can-
go away.
Well, you can also just pick up the circuit board from these guys too, and build it how you like.
Yeah, that's why I said it's kind of almost a semi-do-it-yourself type project.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, that's it's good stuff. It's nice to have options like this.
I don't see a
Um,
price. But you would think it would be inexpensive, based on it is this.
Oh, it's not. It's not. It's not inexpensive.
So you found the price.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's,
you're looking.
it's so high he won't say it.
Well, the racing displays that come with the LCDs. I guess. I don't know. I'm such a bad like. If it's more than $50, I don't even care. But they range between 240 to 274 pounds.
That is a little on the high side.
I didn't expect that.
Because you can get a wheel with about the same stuff. for
Now,
just
something that's
300.
a little bit more something I won't snub my nose on. You want just the circuit board? That's 35 pounds. Well, that's pretty darn reasonable. I mean, you still got a lot of stuff to get to make it work, but that main piece there, you got to have that. That's pretty darn important. The rest of it's pretty easy to find at reasonable pricing, and a little soldering and a little know-how, you're rocking and rolling.
I guess we'll move on to the next one here. SimRacingExperience.com has posted up what I consider, like, obviously running in VR, I can't enjoy what this is, but this thing is, if I wasn't in VR, I'd probably look at investing one of these. Like these realistic custom dashes and button boxes that they have, they're gorgeous boxes and full dashes. Like I couldn't even believe when I was looking at this what this was. I thought it was something else until seeing it all. But it lights up, and it's basically like a dash that wraps around your whole base. Like it's designed for your base.
Right, it bolts to your base, and it's a surround that turns it into basically like a dash of a car kind of thing, and it's got all the bells and whistles, and it's pretty, and light lit up, and
It's just they even have just like small versions of it that just it's got like analog gauges and stuff. There's so many different choices that you can have, but it's kind of just makes the boring, if you got like a Fanatec base, it just kind of brings it up and makes it the use of the actual body of the base. I don't know what this does the only thing I would be worried about is the cooling aspect of these bases, trying to keep them cool, but I don't know what the cooling in behind is like when these things are wrapped around it. That'd be the only thing I'd be worried about.
Now you look down near the bottom, and I guess they're called the Genuine Pro and Genuine Basic boxes. Those things are badass. It's almost like you got like two sides of the button box. You got like a bit of a vertical face with some options on it, and then the top horizontal spot gives you more button options.
And
This
that
would
would
be
go
this would be-
right in the console area.
Yeah, this would be something you'd mount right, like if you were at an H shifter, it'd be like right in front of it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. No, that's really cool. It's not something we've I don't think we've covered anything like that yet. So that's neat to see.
It's a different dimension of using it, right? Like you're using instead of just using a front face you're using two sides to a box instead of just the face, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's nice. It's neat.
That is neat. I like that box, and like you said, it's three-dimensional, kind of. I guess is the way I would describe it.
It's kind of like looking at this. You kind of could just, Tony, with all that stuff that you've been figuring out with button boxes, you could kind of just take a console and cut it up and make a button box out of it, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like you can build one. You can build it however you want, and like the Arduino boards would be able to do this exactly. Like you wouldn't have an issue pulling something like this off. So I guess food for thought for people, but if you don't want to go through all that and you don't want to stab yourself trying to cut out damn labels, check out these things, right? Like they do look, they've done a really nice job, and for what you're getting, I'm not even going to balk too much at the price, because it'd be about the price I'd expect them to be.
The big dash thing is 799 euros. If you look at the close-up pictures, it's backlit. So all that glowing on the dash, it looks like there's blue lights behind that are kind of glowing through. So it's kind of a backlit thing. Very cool. Anyway, this is from Spain, these guys.
So up next, I don't know who this guy is, but he posted up a pretty nice rig on Instagram, and I'm not sure if it's got some wheels or not. It almost looked like it had wheels, but I think this, it's not motion, but it's pretty well contained with some. Those are some giant ass monitors. Holy cow! But it's a tubular setup. And I know, Greg, you're trying to get in here to rib me on this one, but I ain't gonna let you. Nice tubular frame, and it's sat up on like a I don't know, some kind of feet thing there. I thought it was some casters, but it's not. They're just some regular feet. Yeah.
Now, see, this kind of reminds me of the last time. Whose rig was it? I think it was the Canadian IndyCar. I can't think of his name right now. His setup was like this, where the monitors kind of had an extra thing where you had to unhook the monitor to get out of it.
Yeah, this is Simcraft. Yep, it's the same brand.
Is it the same one? Okay.
Yeah, it's the same brand. So it's Simcraft.
Definitely packed in there.
I think it does have motion, even though it doesn't look like it. That's why it has that bottom piece, and then the rig's kind of separate on top of it. So it has some kind of motion component, I think.
Well, that's what I was really trying to figure out, because, yeah, from the very, bottom base of that rig, there's, a box, and I would have to guess it's probably 4 to 6 inches high. You would think that could house some kind of
one DOF. One DOF.
There you go. There it is. All right. Problem solved.
So
One
tail slip.
DOF, yeah.
Yeah, I clicked on. If you click on the @Simcraft thing on the side there, it brings up a whole bunch of the other ones here, and I just clicked on one of them, and it talked about. There's obviously different things, but the one that Robert Wickens drove, it looks exactly like that. It had one DOF.
Yeah, so this is Paul Tracy, the announcer for the IndyCar series.
He drives those Pro Arena trucks up in Alaska too, right?
Oh, the #1 fan here, Tony.
I like Paul because he lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is not far from me. He put up a video also of him running on iRacing in his new rig. Just getting ready for the IndyCar race that's coming up. He was just running laps just to get familiar.
He's got a He's got a painting on the wall there that with him and Greg Moore.
From the player days.
Yeah.
All right, next I found on Instagram, Track Racer brings us a F1 seat later this year. And we got a picture of it, and it's sleek, narrow, doesn't look very comfortable, and not much padding, but it's got that F1 kind of slant to it.
Has anyone noticed what once they start tilting the F1 rims over or the seats over, the padding seems to get smaller? There's obviously not as much need maybe for the way it's like
Maybe.
a lot of these rims they just doesn't or these seats they don't seem to have the padding that you know like a cup seat or something where you'd sit up seat would be padded.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
agree.
know.
We've seen a
Well,
lot
your
like
weight,
that.
your weight is more evenly distributed. That's one of the reasons I was tempted to try an F1 style seat was that it wouldn't be basically putting as much weight on my tailbone.
You wouldn't get airplane butt.
No, you
Yeah.
don't. I've been in these. I've sat in these and you know, not put some serious time in them, but you know, like well over an hour, and they are extremely comfortable. And you don't need the same padding as you would in what we're used to.
Kind of like a hammock feeling.
Similar, yeah.
Now this being Track Racer, is it even going to come out this year
Well, it does say
Or-
later this year.
or be able to be shipped at all? The way that they're having problems right now.
Yeah, who knows? You know, we'll see.
Well, let's jump into back into my world a little bit, and we titled this one, you know, when in need, do it yourself. I actually found this one today, just scrolling through the old Facebook, and this guy had an issue. He had way too much storage room and not enough racing room, so he took his 80/20 shelving unit, deconstructed it, and turned it into a racing rig. I
Wow.
just gotta throw out these huge applause to this guy. This is just absolutely awesome.
It looks like 80/20 too. I'm like, what? That's not 80/20.
It's not exactly 80/20, but it's the same idea. You know, there's different variations and stuff like that, but I call it T-channel. It's a T-channel setup, which what 80/20 basically is. But I mean, why not?
So instead of saying nice rig, do we say nice rack?
Nice shelf.
Well played, sir. Well played.
What a great way of repurposing. And it came out looking really good too. I mean, top notch.
Yeah, the finished product is it looks like, you know,
It looks
Every
like a
other
sim
game.
lab, yeah.
yeah, every other 80/20 rig that we've talked about on here. And if you look at all these pieces and stuff that he's it looks like I don't think he's actually had to buy any extra parts. He used everything that the shelf was put together to make this thing happen.
And a proper car seat.
I'm sorry, the best comment from this whole thing though is, well done, much more useful than shelves.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, well done. That's pretty cool. Hadn't seen that one yet.
Like to even just look, stand and look at your shelf and go, man, can I make a rig out of that?
Well, if you move on to the next one, it kind of looks like this guy may have done the same thing. Maybe just not quite to the same effect. This is a wooden rig. And I'm sure those weren't even shells. I don't think they would be. But the funny part about this, So we can describe the rig. I mean, it is just a wooden rig made from scrap that you find in your garage that's probably been hiding in a corner for the last 5 years. There's really nothing special to this rig except it didn't cost the guy anything.
You got a pillow.
It's gonna cost his butt cheeks, I can tell you that.
Oh yeah. He'll figure that one out in about an hour.
Would you call that a
airpl-
GT configuration or F1?
I would call it like a toboggan. It
Yeah.
almost kind of feels like
A
like a
coffin.
toboggan.
The best part about this whole thing isn't the rig itself. The best part is actually the post. So it says, this is from Scott Anderson, and the day I got the wheel, I realized I could not strap it to any table or desk I owned, so I had to build this. Took 2 hours start to finish and was completely free. Still using this since day one, way back 3 whole months ago. I
3
read that.
months.
Oh yeah, I spent about 5 minutes laughing over this one. Good on him. Yeah, applaud anybody that builds their own stuff. Doesn't matter what it looks like. If it serves the purpose, that's what it's all about. But
Hey,
have a little
he's-
fun with your post. It's great.
He's better off than I was for years with an office chair and it strapped to the desk because he's going to be more stable.
Well, and all I think is as long as you're having fun and enjoying the sim, what does it matter?
Yeah, if you can
But-
push the pedals, right?
Ty Majeski kicks ass with a laptop held up with rolls of duct tape. It doesn't matter. It's all about having fun, and I'm really happy that guys like Scott Anderson share those experiences and have some fun to entertain us with his cheeky posts. So
Now-
that's great.
Ty does well with the G27, and he's almost thinks he might not do as well with more expensive equipment. But I've said this before. That's because he's an exceptional talent, and he could probably win with a controller. He's just that's how good he is. For somebody that's an average Joe, I think sometimes bumping up the equipment does help. I know that I can do a lot more now with the direct drive and the proper pedals and the rig than I could back on the G27 days.
Well, with saying that, with this next rig, you should be an alien.
This one's crazy.
It won't push you past your talent. It'll help. But yeah, this next rig, it's definitely not made of wood.
It's also not made for anybody's wallet.
Or
Not-
house.
Not mine, that's for sure.
What high? Like, how high would your ceiling have to be to use this?
Dude, you need a 2-story
This is-
area for sure.
It'd be a vaulted ceiling.
So
It's crazy.
describe it for the audio listeners. It's this giant mechanical arm, and
It's basically the Canadian space arm, right?
Pretty much.
And it's got 9 monitors linked
the
together.
video wall.
And it's a double hinged, or it's triple hinged, I guess, to give you all the different ranges of motion. And I don't know if it would really actually give you all the right motion for racing, based on the way it's moving for this kind of roller coaster looking game. But this is insane. This might even be past Denny Hamlin's price tag.
I was gonna say, if you need that much motion in racing, you're doing something wrong.
Well, I was just watching a video the other day where a guy was doing some in R Factor 2, seeing which cars could actually drive upside down, and he had some of the F1 cars actually could. They designed this track, and they had it where you could actually go upside down and slow it all the way down to about 115 miles an hour before it would finally fall.
How long till you think, if you could actually get this in your house, that your wife would try and ask you to get up to the top of the ceiling to get the cobwebs out with it?
Or change that light bulb. Now, this is what I would describe as a roller coaster sim, because it's got a lot of up and down and drop you, off the cliff kind of, motions, and
Yeah, you don't need this much vertical play in a car.
Now, at the beginning of the video, it looked like he was driving a car, but then it kind of turned into this roller coaster thing.
What it reminds me of is, like, the only thing, this is obviously just something for tech demonstrations, it's not something you'd be purchasing. Like it reminds me of something that was in like the movies like Richie Rich.
Well, I mean, if you had $500,000, you could totally purchase it.
But like I said, like this is just to get people to. There's obviously something they're promoting. Is it that? Is it a piece of software or something?
Well, it's from the videos from Tech Giant Hawaii. So they're they're promoting their technological advances and stuff like that, right? Swap out that wheel that he's got for a joystick. This would be a wild flight sim.
Right. Flight sim would be perfect.
That's what I'm wondering, if you could actually imagine if you could spin. Does it spin on that axis on the seat? Like if it spins there, that would be perfect.
Well, the only problem there is that cable would get twisted, and it's just something I thought of when I went back and re-listened to the show last week. That 360 chair with VR. What would happen if you spun around twice in the same direction? Your cable would choke you.
Well, the only way you're going to be using VR on something is if the unit that your VR is plugged into is on the same thing and rotating with you.
I guess that would work.
Or VR eventually goes, you can actually use like the Oculus Go instead of wireless. VR has to go wireless at some point where you can do it.
It's a really high bandwidth.
Mike, do you think you'd need a very big prisms for 9 monitors?
Crazy, the heat, oh man, and the power. Yeah, this thing is a beast.
I wonder what their carbon footprint is.
Cops would be banging at your door thinking you're growing dope in your basement.
What is it, like the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation when he turns the Christmas lights on and the thing just goes winding around the electrical?
Yeah. No, I ain't growing nothing. I'm playing video games. Go away.
Well, I don't know if you can mount a direct drive wheel to it, but we got another from SimCore here. They got their direct drive mounts for their cockpits. I don't see anything on here. Is it just the mounts here that they're advertising for 80/20? Okay, it is for 80/20.
150. Yeah.
They're really nice looking. All it is, it looks like a couple simple pieces of cut out. Is it aluminum? I'm guessing it's aluminum.
Anodized aluminum.
Anodized aluminum that bolts into the side of your direct drive Fanatec base and attaches perfectly to an 80/20 rig configuration. So if anybody's looking for a mount, SimCore, what's the actual website? Simcore.au, simcore.com.au has got these.
Change the color. They have red or gold. Love it.
Yeah,
and
the red
black.
is nice.
Black.
There's a little bit of adjustability. It looks like you can change the angle. I don't know if it. I know that my rig I can change it more, but you don't. I mean, how high do you usually tilt your wheel? Not that high.
I have
I
a
guess it
tiny.
depends
You
on how
can see
tall
it.
you are, right? It depends on how tall you are.
Yeah.
Looks like they got a couple things for like they got all kinds of different mounts here on SimCore's website as well. Was there a price? I didn't
150.
150? That's not bad. 150 US.
Mm-hmm. But you're shipping from Australia, I think.
Damn.
Oh, we got a question. I didn't even realize I was attached to this one until about 30 seconds ago. So bear with me. It looks like somebody was looking on the forums somewhere to sell push-to-talk buttons that they can mount right to their steering wheel, and there is actually a couple of options. So, Dave Bush, if you just happen to be listening, your first stop should go to Facebook and search up Rise Engineering, and they have a push-to-talk option that he's selling for $55. A 1 week lead time, and it's actually a really nice looking push to talk. He's got a carbon fiber looking front to it. There's 2 buttons on the face of it, and it looks like there's a button on opposite sides. So it looks like you might have 4 buttons in total. That would this would strap right to your wheel.
Yeah, it's about. Did you already say it's about 2 inches wide and it's got a kind of a Velcro strap? I guess you just strap it right onto the wheel.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice how they strapped it to the wheel, but that's definitely probably the best option. That's a really nice looking push to talk.
If anybody that drives one of the oval rims that are 15 or 16 inches in diameter, I would suggest something like this for push to talks, because even the, Fanatec wheels are quite big, and then you're having the hub for it. They don't you don't get the buttons out far enough where you can comfortably push it. But if you can put this in the spots on the actual
on the spoke,
this right here would be like an awesome option for push to talk.
Yes, I love it. I want one.
Well, Mike, let me help you spend some money here, man. It's $55 free shipping.
I know.
You will not find a better deal. I can guarantee that.
Is there free shipping to the States, or is it to specify?
Oh, I'm sure it's just to the lower 48. I'm sure.
Pretty cool. I love it. I need it. My Fanatec button actually fell apart the other day. I put some Scotch tape on it to hold it together.
Well, hit up Rise Engineer and tell them Tony sent you. Maybe they'll give you a good deal.
Now, what about this other one? We found another one. It was ApexSimRacing.com. They have one for $100.
Yeah. Now it shows 135 in Canadian, and this one, well, I don't know. I'm sure it's a good option. Maybe. It's a button, one button push to talk with the. What is up with that?
It's got a separate box it has to plug in with a proprietary cable, and it has a volume knob, it looks like, or something on it. But then I guess that hooks USB from there. But
yeah, I don't know, Mike. I'm not as excited about this one.
I'm not either, especially it's twice as much money.
It's twice as much money, and it really, it's kind of nice they got the volume deal, but I don't know if that's worth double the price. I'm sure don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's well made. It certainly looks very well made, but
so that box is it's a rotary encoder to use for chat volume or other in-game functions.
Yeah, it's not really that big of a deal, but I mean, it's just another option, right? Different strokes for different folks. But
at that point, you could spend a couple of $100 and have a really nice button box.
You can get a button box for $60 that has more buttons and rotary knobs on it. That button just reminds me of like a detonation button.
Don't push the red button.
But you know what? Hey, some people just want complete simplicity, and this is definitely simple. It's just one button, right? And it's a little bit closer, true to life, to the real thing than the previous one. I guess that's would definitely hit to some people, but yeah, my vote's with Rise. So
I like it.
Yeah, Dave, if you're listening, man, go check out Rise, and I think that could be a good option for you.
Okay. No video from Barry at Sim Racing Garage this week, but he did post a teaser of the next video he's working on with the new Pike's sequential shifter and the Akina handbrake from the guys over at 3D Wrap. So he's got those in for review. Looking at the picture he put on Instagram, oh, looks pretty interesting.
That handbrake looks so nice, and I just like the way that, they've got. I'm guessing that's Alcantara fabric.
Yeah, it's Alcantara handle, and
Looks like it's hand stitched.
it looks real sturdy, thin, narrow. It's not like maybe 1 inch thick, maybe.
It looks durable, like really durable.
Yeah,
The way
looking
it's
forward
built.
to that. All right, let's keep moving. Rig review, Greg.
I can't take this one. Tony, you gotta take this one. I looked at it and I said, I can't.
Yeah, I stuck this one
Yeah,
late.
I should have looked at this as well.
What the heck is this?
Well, it's a picture of the guy's makeshift pedals he built. He built his own pedals. He said he looks like Frankenstein, but they work better than the out-of-the-box T150s. But it's really hard to describe how these look. I mean,
It looks
they're.
like two spatulas.
But what is it mounted to? I mean, what are they hanging from? They're inverted pedals, obviously. But
Oh,
what
it's a
are,
piece
what
of
are they
wood there.
mounted to?
2x4s.
2x4s, and there's a rod, and he's probably got his own potentiometers in there to measure the movement.
Well, he's definitely got. He's probably went out and found specific bungee cords for the bandwidth or the resistance there.
Okay, so to describe for the audio listeners, there's a long bungee cord that's wound around where the brake is. It's hooked to the brake, and then it's round up to where the support is above it, and then round up to somewhere above the rig, above the pedals, to hold it tight, and that's how it gets resistance, is bungee cord.
I mean,
I want to see a video of this.
if you're looking for ingenuity on, a school lunch budget, you definitely have it here, and I would like to see how this thing works in a couple of months. Those bungee cords will wear out, but keep going. I mean, this is where it starts, really. Do what you can with what you got, and if it's doing the trick, you've won. That is a whole hell of a lot of whole lot of wood holding that thing together, and I can't keep my eyes off this damn bungee cord. I really like it.
Are you a member of this site or this Facebook page, Tony?
I am not. No.
I kind of want to just be a member of it just to see what gets posted on here.
Well, this one's called iRacing Shitposting. Now, I have been a part of a couple of these type of groups, and I just find them to be they wear me out. They're just too much whining and stupid fighting going on all the time, so I stay out of them. But if I see a new do-it-yourself sim racing page, I always sign up to those, check those out, because there's some really good stuff.
Now, nobody did comment that he does have this stick-on vinyl marble-looking type thing over top of the 2x4s to make them look kind of like marble.
Well, I mean, anybody can have carbon fiber wrap. It takes a genius to make marble. I love it. I think it's good. You know what? It's certainly a Frankenstein, 100%. It's ugly as hell, but he's extremely happy with it, and I hope it works for him for quite some time. And you know what? Like, this is where this stuff starts, and from there you find out, oh, this doesn't work. Let me try this, and let me try that, and that's the evolution. And the next thing you know, you're pumping out some really, really neat stuff. So, like I said, it's the starting point. Kudos to this guy.
Well done. All right, let's jump right over to fantasy.
Yeah, now what you guys are looking at there is not updated, but give me half a second here, and we've had some movement. There we go. Now we're all up to date. As I was going through the script here yesterday, I had totally forgot about this part here. Bit of a crazy race we had, and I'm sure that it affected a bunch of us. I know it certainly did affect me. I had Denny in my lineup, and when he went into the wall, man, I was like, oh crap, on two different ones, right? Like, yeah, that was a hell of a hard hit into the wall. You always want to see that window net come down, and but then, yeah, my lineup took a hit. Always hate to see the top guys when I pick them for them to get wrecked. That just sucks. But thankfully, the rest of my guys were pretty high up in the point standing, so I was able to kind of cash in on that, and then I was able to get some extra points for picking a winner and stuff like that too. But how are you guys making out? What were your did you have any switches there right before the end of the second stage?
Mine was determined pretty early because who did I have? I had one of those wrecks early, and so I never got to use anybody from the garage. I just had my top 5, and that was it.
Yeah,
So
I
the guy in
usually
your garage
miss
got
the
wrecked
race.
out?
Well, I moved him into the garage. He was wrecked in the first. Who was it? I was just trying to go back and look.
I usually don't swap them out during the race because I usually don't watch the race. So
Oh, it was Truex from that pit road collision.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. That does make it hard on you, Mike, not being able to switch out your guys. And it looks like you dropped a couple of spots.
yep.
So, I don't. You're a big Twitter follower. Maybe that could help you out, kind of going forward. It just takes a quick second to jump into the app and
I always
swap a
forget
guy
about
out.
it. That's the thing.
Yeah, we need like a social media guy to be like, hey, throw out the reminders on our page, like, oh, 20 laps to go before the end of the second stage. Get your swaps in, if you haven't done so already, that kind of deal. But
You can follow it on the app too. Like, the app is pretty up to date. You're probably about 5 minutes behind the actual race.
Right.
oh yeah, but it's it's on a Sunday or Saturday or whatever. You're busy. It's summertime. Everybody's maybe not as busy as they were last year, but they're figuring it out this year. Baby got barbecue going, got some doing whatever you're doing, and yeah, you just miss it. So, but you hear the ding going off off on your phone. You might check your notifications. Anyway, let's go through quickly just the top 10. There has been some shake up here. Justin Time,
top 20 is shaking up.
Well, I see you in there creeping up. Justin Time, he's still leading, but his lead is absolutely shrinking. I'm on a tear. I'm going after him. I'm currently sitting in second, and I'm only off by about 12 points from overtaking him. So I am on a mission. We'll see if I can make that work. G.I. Jojo, third place. Jedi McFly, Chris Scales, he's in fourth. Smiling Ninja in fifth. Laird Racing sixth. Romance Girls in seventh. KBM is in eighth. Res Dog ninth, and T-Bob rounds out the top 10. Mike, yeah, you've fallen a couple spots. You're back in 14th, but you're certainly not out of it. I mean, it's the numbers on the standing look like there's quite a gap, but with all honesty, it's only somebody to have a bad race and it totally changes. You can lose, you can lose 100, 150 points, or somebody can gain 100, 150 points and move themselves up a couple spots. So all you guys keep digging. This has been a lot of fun this year, going through this and having everybody participating.
Well, and the way that this season's worked out, because it's not a natural season, like when we get to that last bit before the playoffs where they got the Daytona road course, I don't know who to pick for that track. Like, you can try and pick a road course ringer, but is it a road course ringer for that track?
Be somebody like a Blaney.
Then, like, you got to think, it's Dover. Is it Dover? They're doing a back-to-back Dover weekend, or is it Michigan? I can't remember in there, but there's 2 races at back-to-back there at a tough track. Then they go to Daytona to finish off to go into the playoffs. Like, that's like a tough stretch there to try and pick just to finish off this regular season.
Oh, are you kidding me? Ever since they got back, it's just been like nonstop craziness. Trying to figure it out. Like, you've got no practice, you've got no qualifying, so you absolutely have no idea what these guys are doing. I mean, the best chance that we had, those back-to-back races. That's the best, right? Because, maybe you play it a little easy on the first race just to see how guys are going, and then that's almost like your practice session, and you have a better idea, hopefully, going into that second one. So, like Pocono, I fared out not too bad at Pocono, especially on the second race, because I had a good idea what was going on and who had what. And then you got some of when they're doubling them up, like Sunday and Wednesday racing. There again, like there's just so many new things and so much stuff. It's hard to account for everything, and not having that history with like how guys are doing in practice and qualifying makes a lot of these things here really tough. I mean, who you're good. The fast guys are always fast. That never changes. But we're halfway into the season, and from now until the end is where it starts getting even harder, because you're running out of those fast guy picks. So now you got to start taking some of the other guys, that are good for sneaking into a 5th place finish or an 8th place finish, just to get those points. Or maybe guys are really good at the end of stages, so they can rack up those stage points. Really changes the strategy from this year from last year, which is in itself has just helped make it that much more exciting in my eyes.
All right, very good. So that's fantasy. Let's jump to the NASCAR iRacing Series. Finish up Indy, Brickyard 400, Friday Open. Greg, P3, photo finish.
Yeah, I had the best long run car in there, and it came down to a green-white checkered, and I just couldn't hold off. The guys with the initial speed right off the bat just took me there, and luckily 2 guys went side by side going into 4, and it slowed them up, and I just didn't have enough straightaway to get past them to finish, to get the lead on the last lap there. But I'll take the P3 and another good finish.
Yep, I got a P21, pretty uneventful. That's about what I deserved. Tony Rochette wrecked early, caught up in a wrecking Jeff Gordon car, killed my engine, so I parked it and drank my sorrows away. Sunday Open, Tony Rochette said he wishes there were more opens. It was a top 3 car all race, got the lead with 11 to go, made a bad mistake and took 2 tires to stay ahead of the field. Restarted, got loose into 1, saved it, big pile up for the leaders in front, couldn't avoid. Should have had 2 wins this week at the Brickyard. Greg, you wrecked out.
Yeah, that was the one I posted to you guys. I was 26 seconds in the lead. It had gone green for the first 90. Actually, it was 98 laps. It went green. I had led 79 of the 98 laps until the caution came out. And the caution had just come out, and a guy was going down pit road and saw the caution came out and dodged back on the track. And when he went to grab 3rd gear or 2nd gear, I don't know what gear it was, he spun the tires in front of me and just totally took me out while I was coming by. I was up against the wall. He was on the inside and turned all the way up into me. I was quite pissed off at the time. I guess you guys could see that in the chat. I posted the video of it, but I did get an apology from him in a very very well written letter, and we don't get that very often. I don't, he knew he screwed up, and I acknowledged that it was a mistake and it happens. And I told him, like I said, I'm like, we need people in the community, in this community, that do this, that will apologize and know when things happen. He didn't want it to happen. He was just trying to get back into get it. He'd go down pit road with all of us on the lead lap or whatever. But I was thankful for his apology, and I'll race on. It's not like I lost anything in it. I get to do this again. It's not like we tore up a $200,000 race car.
So he hasn't pit. He needs tires. He's trying to get on pit road. He decides not to, and he got up on the straight, and he was way down on the inside, but he was way past the entrance of pit road at that point. And you're just going by him way out on the outside, and it just looks like he turned right into you. Like he waited for you to come by, and he just hooked right. But the reality is, he was just trying to catch a gear and get going, right?
Yeah, and that was almost, we were ready for green flag pit stops, obviously, there. So he was on the oldest tires. So he obviously, when he downshifted, he just downshifted. He didn't match the RPMs. So he either picked, I'm guessing he went into second, which would cause that to happen because of the motor revving up the transmission. But the thing that got me was, he still should have gone down pit road, and it's fine now, but he had already gone past the commitment cone, so he gave himself a penalty as well. Now he wrecks, and obviously he feels bad for it, but he did go on the other side of the commitment cone, so he's going to get penalized in the first place for going down a closed pit lane, and moving back on the track. So it's a drive-through penalty. So you're better off to just go down pit road. So it was a mistake, and it happens. I had the best car in that race. Like, I was pulling away. I had a 26-second lead. I don't think I've ever felt that confident. I told you guys in the morning I was going to take it, and I felt really good about that race. And I probably could have gone another probably 60 laps of leading in that race and not had any problems. But it is what it is, and we'll move on to Kentucky. It kind of continued at Kentucky, so it's good.
Well, Kentucky's bad for me. I got P27 last night. Man, I sucked out there bad. I ran sub 20th place pretty much all night. Ended up with a drive-through penalty at the end due to too many incidents. I just get caught up in all kinds of crap. The car wasn't really tore up, but I was just slow. I just suck. It's going to be a bad week for me. David, you got P17 top split.
Yeah, I avoided all the drama. I was having trouble with long run speed, even though we tried a whole lot of different sets and kind of got something working. But it turns out I forgot to turn my wheel back over to its oval settings, because when I'm running in the hybrid, I have the wheel set to be a lot more twitchy, and so that's why I was burning up my right front. Figured that out today, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay, and then Greg, P8, but you got wheel problems too.
Yeah, I led the most laps in this race again. I was up front for the first half of the race, and then we got a long, I want to say it was just under 60 laps, because it was enough for just to have enough left in the tank for the end of the race. But on the end of the run, I just didn't have enough. I didn't have enough gear to keep up with the guys. It was just a different gear, and maybe I would have been better off. But I'll take the P8 and move on. I won't be racing anymore this week for the NIS. I got my league race tonight, and that's it.
I thought NASCAR locked down the gear.
That's one of the things that is a problem with Kentucky as well this week, is the gear is wide open.
Yeah, there's a few choices, I think, sometimes that you can run in some places, but it's you can run any gear. So there's stuff out there running 345. There's stuff there running 385.
Well, in road courses, you get more options than you do oval. I think oval, I've ever seen the max is maybe 3, but usually it's 1 or 2. But 3 is probably the max on oval.
And the reason they do that is because if they didn't, all the teams would be pouring all their money into seeing just how high they could get those RPMs to run and not blow up. So it's a cost cutting measure.
Well, the thing also would be is they'd run it they'd run it on a long run. You could get more speed out of the car and get it to turn better if you downshifted. That's why they would do those downshifting at Pocono and stuff like that, right, to get it up off the corner. You could
Well,
run a different gear and downshift.
before the new package came out, they were downshifting. The shifting was never the concern. It's basically save the engines or save them from spending money to save the engines at the higher RPMs.
Okay, Tom Dryling got a P16. Early yellow, lap 20, with only 3 sets available, decided not to take tires. Now, I decided for him. I told him, don't do it. Um, anyway, big mistake, he said, for this race. The race then went 80 laps till the next caution. He went 2 laps down. He did work to get his laps back. It was a 4-lap shootout at the end. Started 28th in the 4-lap shootout and ended up 16th. Tony Rochette, P3. Took me all race till the last 20 laps to figure out how to drive 3 and 4. 7 to go. I used the last set of tires. We started 11th in the top 3 in 4 laps. Today, I got P23, top split. Got what I deserved. Didn't have as many incidents this time, but I was slow out there, and 23rd in top split, that's about what I run. David, you were there with me.
Yeah, and I'm really not sure exactly what happened here. We've talked about it before. There's this kind of dead zone in the middle of the car where sometimes it's a little tricky keeping it going straight. I just about lap 5 or 6 wasn't really in a hurry. Car was under control. It wasn't tight or anything, and just murdered the wall. I mean, it wasn't that I. It wasn't one of those situations where you think, "Oh, I'm just gonna barely tap it," and then you kind of have to turn into it. I hit it and was surprised when I hit it, and hit it so hard that it knocked me all the way to the inside wall, and I hit that hard too, and did about 6 minutes of damage. Um, so either my wheel turned a little right on me and I didn't realize it, or I just misjudged where the wall was because I just when I looked at the replay, I just drove nose right into the wall, not even turning, it just straight. Um, Killed the car, and I just decided I could go get other things done, so I parked it.
Okay. Other official, I ran NASCAR Legends. Man, at Richmond, not Richmond, but Rockingham. Boy, what a combo. This car and this track are built for each other, and it's so much fun. I was going forward, not backwards usually. First race, P13. I actually got speeding on pit road on my one stop. Came from the back, clear up to 13th. Then the next race I did that night, I got a P4. Started 13th, made my way up. Always moving forward. Near the end, though, I did fade a little bit from 3rd to 4th. It was a really good run. I did run again the next night and got a P6. And, yeah, I'll probably run that again tonight. It's a blast. I mean, I can't believe that more people are not running this. It is so much fun. And hard to drive. And then, Greg, let's talk about the ISCA.
Yeah, so this was a tough race, and I'm kind of glad I did what I did in that race. But second corner, I had a guy. I was way on the inside of him. I was probably past his door. He just turns down into me, and him turning down into me shot me down, and it left him going straight. I don't understand how that worked, but he just turns down like I'm not even there on the first lap. Like, you're on the outside, you should know that there's going to be a car on the inside. But anyways, he doesn't say anything, gets going. We keep going on. I ended up falling back, and I eventually went 2 laps down because of I got loose off the corner once, and I clipped the pit road cone. So I had to go down and serve a penalty and got back out on the track. And by the time everything got done, I was 2 laps down, and then a caution came out. I got a wave around, and then another caution came out, and I was racing this guy for probably 3 or 4 laps on trying to get the lucky dog position, and I just had edged him out for it. And when the caution came out, and as soon as I got back on the lead lap, I got any of the damage that I had done fixed, and I don't know what changed in the second half of the race, but the car came alive. I drove through the field, and I was fighting for third. I only mustered a P5 there, but at Indy, but I had probably one of the best weeks at one of the tracks. I was a legitimate race winning contender every race I stepped on that track, and I've not felt that in a long time.
All right. Let's jump into final thoughts. David Hall.
I have a quote that has to do with anything you might see online. There's been some, rumors posted around. There's always kind of conspiracy theories out there, and it's just a quote from one of my favorite scientists of all time. His name was Carl Sagan, and it basically says, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence."
Bingo. Well said, David. All right, Greg Hectus, final thoughts.
I'm going to be running the ISCA race tonight at Kentucky. I hope it goes good. Just going to try and finish and get a good finish out of it tonight, because after I'm done work tomorrow, I'm gone for a week. I'm on holidays, and I'll be up at the cottage, and I won't have anything to do with iRacing for a week. So I miss most of, I'm guessing, what is it, New Hampshire next week? So hopefully I'll come back and maybe I might be able to run a Friday night New Hampshire, but if not, I'll run the Sunday and get one start in and go from there. But yeah, if you guys want to come watch me race on my Twitch channel, it's twitch.tv/frozencactus, frozen with 2 O's, cactus with 2 K's, and yeah, we'll see you there.
How many S's are there?
Yeah, have a nice holiday. All right, Tony Gross, final thought.
Well, I've done a little bit of racing, and it has been an absolutely new experience for me. Friday night, my Oculus came in, so I got her all hooked up and all checked out, and actually did my first race last night. Now, let me tell you, that is a much different experience, and overwhelming is the one word that I've been able to say about it. Now, as I've done a bunch of practicing and stuff, it's becoming not so overwhelming. But when I first jumped in, and I can look around and I can see everything. Now, obviously, it's not as crisp and clear as it is on the monitors, but there's just so much to look at, so much to see, and holy cow, it's just such a totally different experience. And I can't say, one's really better than the other, because they're it really hasn't changed my racing at all. But
it will. It will.
Definitely has been a really fun experience, and certainly glad that I decided to get this for the second rig.
Well done. Enjoy. All right. Well, my final thoughts. Last couple races in NIS, I've gotten to race again with Elliott Sadler, and what a class act he is, I must say. Very polite on the radio. People go by him, he'll say, thank you, that kind of thing. But what a pleasure it is to race with a known professional that knows how to get around a track, and to kind of compare up to him. And I was a little starstruck again, just racing with him and being able to do a restart, and he's right next to me, and to see how we match up as we take off from the grid. And boy, it's just a blast to have him involved, and he's taking it serious, guys. He's out there not just having fun, but he's trying to win. He's trying to race. He's got a team around him. Those guys are looking good. In fact, they finished first and second out of that team today. And so he's got a powerhouse NIS team over there that he's built with Michael Jeans and several others. And there's another team out there that's got a lot of people in it. What's the name of that one, David? The Lancaster sponsorship?
Lockard.
Lockard.
That's my old team, F5 Motorsports.
Yeah, they got quite a lineup in top split as well in NIS, and they got guys in second split as well. But to have Tifosi Racing, David, you're representing. I'm kind of up there. Greg, you're on the way. We're trying to hold our head up high and represent, but having a hard time at Kentucky. And with that, we'll see you on the track later.